welcome to a special edition of Decision 2012. Over the next hour in conjunction with C-Voter, NewsX will bring you the key results of the 5 key battles that are set to change the discourse at the national level. This is our exit poll focusing this hour on Uttar Pradesh.
That's right. Let's take a quick look at the numbers. We're joined by Rishabh Gulati for more on that front. Rishabh, take us through the numbers.
And this is the big verdict coming up on your screen. The key takeaway figure right at the top. The Samajwadi Party bagging in 141 according to our exit poll. Mayawati losing her stranglehold over Uttar Pradesh. 126 is what we're predicting. The BJP clearly the big gainer. 83, a big protection there for the BJP, and the disappointment there clear for Rahul Gandhi. With his alliance with the RLD banking 11, the Congress getting only 36. Let's have a look at how this pans out when it comes to the voter shares. 26% for the Samajwadi Party, 1% more for the BSP, but spread out and diluted, giving the Samajwadi Party many more seats. The BJP clocking in an impressive 20% of the vote share. The Congress getting in 19% along with Ajit Singh, but that hasn't translated very well when it comes to the number of seats. How does it compare with 2007? Well, the clear figure, the BSP from 206, a clear majority, down 80 seats. The big winner, the BJP, doubling its seats, 32 up. The Congress getting 15 more seats with its alliance with the RLD, but not quite enough. It was hoping for 60 or 70. Let's have a look at the swings. The swings very clear. The Congress getting a 6% uptick, but remember it started from a very low base. Let's have a look at how the BJP fared out. Again an uptick here of only 3%, but it's translated very well for them. Have a look at the BSP. Again a downtick here of 3%, costing it almost 80 seats spread out over the many constituencies. And the Samajwadi Party, 1% uptick, and that's really made the difference. Rahul, back to you.
All right. Well, a lot of leaders had staked their reputations and their future on this Uttar Pradesh election, and none greater perhaps than Rahul Gandhi and the BJP Nitin Gadkari. Now, while Nitin Gadkari's seemingly controversial choices of leaders like Sanjay Joshi, Uma Bharti seem to have paid off, Rahul Gandhi's campaigns, decisions, strategies seemed to have failed. Nawab Kazim Ali, tell us, how badly is the young leader and your party going to hurt from this?
Let me point out something in the beginning. What you're talking about, the results. The results will be there on the 6th. These are just predictions. So one can't, I can't comment totally on predictions thinking that there would be results. But what you are predicting, it may be a totally different picture after 3 days. So what I think is that what Mr. Rahul Gandhi has done, he's followed a particular strategy and he's worked on it. Now it is for the people to decide whether they accept that or whether, they actually think that that strategy would work practically. So, and again, like I said before, it is actually more of local issues which have played a pivotal role in making the voters swing either way to whichever party. So it's not really the manifestos which have
no, but the criticism
made a major role.
The criticism, Nawab Kazim Ali, the criticism of the Congress, the criticism of the Congress was a desperate manner in which it resorted to populism. It even raised the eyebrows of the Election Commission. And that's the real criticism. The voters seem to have seen through some of that duality.
The entire timing of the debate.
No, I don't think that is true. I don't think that's true. Like I said, it was local issues and local issues which have actually played a major role in this. Like, for instance, in Rampur, there were 5 assembly segments. And like what Mr. Kamal Farooqi is saying, he's talking about manifestos. So if it was actually on manifesto, then it would have worked in all the 5 seats in Rampur. But it failed to work. So, here the issues were more localized rather than being centralized. spreading over the
There's
state.
an element of sophistry.
So every
there's an
seat
element
had a
of
very
sophistry,
typical,
Just.
There's double speak on this side.
Will have a very typical result.
On the state level, you're saying Rahul did not.
No, I don't
the factor was not there. For Rampur, you're saying it was
No,
localized.
I don't.
Rampur is special because of the politics. You have Azam Khan and your family, and Afroz Ali Khan and his family. So that's local. But on the larger canvas, voters normally vote for a government they want to choose. In this position, SP seems to be in a polar position. I mean, if just a 1.5% more swing might give them close to majority.
Yeah, I just want to add to that.
That's what I'm saying.
Nawab Kazim Ali, the point that I want to make on the back of it is that Rahul Gandhi came out and many people said that it was a massive tactical blunder on his part, saying that they're going to sit in the opposition. They're not going to make the government there. They're not going to support anyone. Many people said that making a statement like that in the middle of a campaign would not only suggest that the party was not inclined to work along with allies, but also seemed to suggest at some level or the other that it was being very cynical about the mandate and the interpretation of that mandate.
Well, the mandate will be delivered on the 6th. I mean, it was delivered today, but of course it will come out in the open on the 6th. So one has to keep all options open. You cannot say that we will do this.
Oh, that's a course correction.
In mind that only this would be the result.
No, that's a course correction. That's breaking news.
All different permutations and combinations.
No, that's breaking news.
No,
Nawab Kazim Ali, let me ask
Let
me ask Mr. Faruqi.
No,
Mr.
no,
Faruqi, would you join hands with the Congress party?
All political
Would you join hands with the Congress party, Mr. Faruqi?
All political parties have to keep have permutations and combinations.
Well, Rahul Gandhi was very categoric. We have statements.
Rahul, I'm very happy at least on this point. Kazim Ali is taking a little more realistic view. But I'm more on the.
Every party has teamed with every other party.
Sorry,
but the Congress has not teamed with the BJP or with any other party.
I'm more on the calculations which you are showing us, and therein in your calculations you have shown in the exit poll that 1% swing is in favor of Samajwadi Party. I totally disagree with this. This swing is more than 1%, and that is how this you are giving the 85 seats, just doubling the BJP share. I personally feel there is some catch in it. If you see, and I have gone through all the phases of the election, 7 phases, I have seen that the swing is far more than this, and definitely if it is going to be more than 3%, it will have the absolutely different calculation, and on this basis we are thinking of getting more than 220 seats in fact.
Okay, Kamal Faruqi, you know, a lot of guests here have been telling us that this was not an election about large issues or singular issues that cover the nation or even the state, but it all boiled down to very local issues. You tell us, as you've been watching your party's success, what do you think has delivered these numbers to you? Were they just different local issues all across East and Western UP?
No, in fact, again, let me tell you one thing, that as far as Spain is concerned, right from the eastern area to the western area, absolutely the same swing is there. Number one. Number two, the people were fed up of the Mayawati rule of 5 years. In fact, they have seen the corruption and whatnot. Number two, they really want to get back into the development phase. And what actually our younger leader has given to the people, the education and all those kind of things, this has definitely, and you see the kind of the long queues in the employment exchange. In fact, that reflects that the people are fed up with this and they want employment, or they want something to go.
Let's just ask Manjeet Kriplana in Mumbai. You know, you were saying a little bit earlier in the previous show that India is changing, young people are changing, and that's sort of what's delivered these seeming trends which will in our exit poll. But when we hear what people are saying about the issues that they went to the hustings with, they're the same old issues. It's development, it's infrastructure, it's jobs, it's caste, it's reservations for your religion and for your jat. How exactly do you say that India is changing if every issue that we've heard for the last hour has been the same that I heard 20 years ago?
No, well, I don't think they're the same issues. Reservations, jat and caste are quite different from development and jobs. The issues now are really jobs. UP has seen a dramatic increase in education in their youth, and I saw it in the smallest villages where people actually do have schooling. they do have hospitals, they want postgraduate colleges, and now they're going to be looking for jobs. India has changed. Caste is important so that people can keep their status, but it's not what is part of people's aspirations.
Perhaps that's the disconnect.
This is a country with aspirations, and what you need is opportunity.
Okay, perhaps that's the disconnect.
The person who provides the opportunity is going to be the winner.
Perhaps that's the disconnect that we're seeing in aspiration and outcome. The outcome.
I mean, I'm not so sure whether this is something we like to believe, or this is something that is actually working its way through the voters' minds. Because again, it's easy to say, you know, people want opportunity. I'm not sure when in the last 64 years people have not wanted opportunity or jobs. But I think what it's boiling down to is that actually, Kalyani Shankar, if I can come to you, we all have no clue really about why the election has yet worked out, or seeming to have worked out as it has, or as our numbers seem to tell us that it has, as that in fact the problem is, that I was perhaps trying to get to a little earlier, no one has really quite understood the voter as accurately as they would have liked to, least of course the Congress party.
Well, I think most of the parties were wondering about the mind of the new voters. There were some people who were saying that Mayawati has registered quite a few Jata voters among the 1 crore 68 lakh voters. Other people were also trying to do. But now when the results come out, you will be able to analyze it, that who has voted for whom. But that is the only way you can analyze it. But as of now, it's really a mystery why some people are getting more votes, why some people are getting less votes. And I just want to quickly say that Mulayam has got, if he gets 140, 150, it is because he has got his MY intact. And if Mayawati didn't lose it, it's because her Dalit votes are intact. And if BJP is gaining, it's because upper caste has come back. And if Congress is not doing well, it's because it has not been able to attract any of these groups.
Okay, let me quickly bring in Professor Kanungo. Professor Kanungo, we've been seeing and analyzing these results that have been projected on our screen. Where do you think the disconnect lies between aspiration and outcome? There seems to be a disconnect. The voter hasn't come out with the mandate that it was expecting. Mayawati last time capitalized on a rainbow coalition. This time it's all very fragmented.
Well, I think in the present context we are caught between identity and development. If you look at UP, you find that unfortunately both the national parties have been marginalized, and so there is no hope for the youth from any of these national parties. So that's a very fundamental issue. You know, you talk of Rahul magic, you know, I think magic doesn't work in politics nowadays, and we must know it very clearly. What you need is a kind of, you know, trust, winning trust from the voters, kind of coalition building, and also hard political calculations. I think in these regards, perhaps, you know, Congress has lagged behind. And connecting the youth you are talking about, youth is connecting to Akhilesh Yadav as well. Youth is also connecting to Mayawati, because as Kalyani Shankar has pointed out, because in every constituency they have actually registered many young voters. So I think if there is a surge in the youth turnout or the voters registration, I think it has been evenly split.
You know, one thing that I'm willing to sort of accept as a new trend in Indian politics is not just the arguments about development, you know, this Garibi Hatao, as far back as you can go, is all about uplifting people's lives. But it's really about governance. It's about the ability to deliver results at the grassroots, where people are really voting for the candidate who will be able to extract the most out of his state funds or whatever you have it for his own constituency. Ijaz Ilmi, as you've gone out into the countryside, have you seen voters become far more demanding of their local MLA or even their MP on what they have done for their local area with their, you know, their funds, with their ability to get projects into the area?
Absolutely, yes. Local politics does matter. But in the state of UP, who will form the government and who has the essential trust factor and the experience of governance? In this scenario, if Mayawati had to go, and it's very evident if she's going to lose 40% of the seats, that she obviously has been targeted by the voters. They did not want Mayawati to continue in governance. So who else but the second largest party or somebody in the pole position like Samajwadi Party? And don't be surprised if the vote share 1% swing or 2% swing plus than what we are showing could lead to a far greater number for the Samajwadi Party.
Okay, Well, let me just
it would be a decisive mandate.
Let me bring in Mr. Maheshwari on that point. Mr. Maheshwari, before I come across, in fact, to Zoya Hassan, let me just bring you in. Mr. Maheshwari, very, very singularly, as Professor Kanungo was seeming to suggest, that there has been a gap between aspiration and what has been promised in terms of governance. And this is the real mandate or the verdict that has come through in Uttar Pradesh. That is what several people are saying. Don't come here with populist schemes, deliver when you're elected.
No, according to your own showing, there is no clear mandate by the people this time. And as a matter of fact, I don't believe.
No, because there's a rejection. There is a rejection of that cynical politics of caste.
It is against Mayawati. The vote pattern is against Mayawati.
Yes.
They wanted change.
It's a vote for
And
change.
you see that 6% votes you have shown, that swing is 6%. That is maximum towards the Congress. So, to my mind, the
Professor Hassan, if I can bring you in, would you agree?
If you see, if we lose, the Congress loses in seats, it is because of local scenario, candidates, and you see the weak organization. Not, it doesn't reflect on Mr. Rahul Gandhi as you are showing. I am.
Professor Hassan, let me also bring you in. That's an interesting point that has been made, but unfortunately, it's slightly dilatory. Professor Hassan.
Well, you know, there are two sets of issues. The first issue is that I think we cannot really generalize about UP as a whole. After all, UP is, if it were a country, the 6th largest country in the world. So I think we have to be careful that, for example, in UP over the last few years, economic growth has certainly gone up. But the growth is concentrated in a few districts. It's not evenly spread across the length and breadth of UP, and therefore there are certain regions of UP which are doing well, which obviously Noida being one, parts of Western UP being the other, but then there is Bundelkhand, Eastern UP and so on, where underdevelopment persists. So I think the principal issues really is not what you are, is not really governance as such. That is of course an issue, but I think basically the issue is opportunities, it is livelihood, it is education. And I think for a very long time in UP, for the past 20 years, I think employment has been the biggest issue. UP's strategy of development is simply not generating adequate employment, whereas in other parts of the country, whether it is southern India or western India, they are generating more jobs. I mean, you look at Tamil Nadu, it has the automobile industry, you have Karnataka, there's the IT sector and so on and so forth. Now, UP doesn't really have any of this. Now, I think that's one of the issues, and yet there has been growth. Yet there has been growth, or much higher growth over the past few years. But I think that growth, as I said, is concentrated. Now, coming to your point about Congress and so on, I think we have to be clear that we are still talking of one poll, because if you look at the many other polls that other channels are showing, certainly the Congress performance in those polls is not as bad as what your C voter poll is showing. But the fact is that Congress is likely to be third or fourth. Maybe even fourth, unlike what they may have expected. And I think the reason for this is that while Rahul Gandhi has brought the Congress back into the reckoning, and there were large crowds, but those crowds have not been translated into votes for two reasons. One, very poor organization. Two, no state level leader. And three, I think a lot of people think that after all, Rahul Gandhi is not going to be the Chief Minister of UP, so they may be wasting their vote.
Okay.
But I think the Congress is in for a long haul, and I think that the base for the revival of the Congress may well have been created, even if it does not get, let's say, even 50 seats in this election.
Okay, well, let's take a quick break. We'll be back in just 1 minute. Don't go away. We'll be back. We'll be talking about the third C in UP politics, criminality, in addition to caste and creed. How has that shaped the outcome that we're talking about today? We'll be back in just a minute.